Okay. Good morning, beloveds. I had an episode at 2:00 in the morning, and so I'm a little, I know better than to eat spicy, and, well, so I'm a little today. I'm also very sad about Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. So, okay. But we are here to do your spiritual power. So let's do the housekeeping, and then we'll move on into the reading. And I knew better than to mess with the camera angle and did it anyway. Okay. And all the housekeeping is me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. Website is creativelife.org. The constant contact email is info@creativelife.org. If you will email that, that list will get you one email a week, tells you what's going on for the week and the month. The hot links are hot, and it is a blind CC, meaning nobody will see your email. And then I do mean one email a week. It is a real person doing it. He doesn't have time for more than that. The only reason you would get something, you would get more than one is if something unusual happens, which is usually weather related. We do live on the Gulf Coast, so there's that. All right. Hang on. I'm going to mention the social medias merely from the standpoint of we do not monetize them. We don't want to deal with the ads any more than you do. So what we ask you to do instead is to go like, subscribe, follow based on which platform you are on, and then engage with the individual posts by reacting, commenting, and sharing the individual post. We think we have good tools to share. We hope you agree with us. And it is a free and easy way that you can support the center. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark, based on which platform you're on. And I am the running Rev Ryan across all of the platforms that I am on. So there is that. All right. I think that's everything. Yeah, that's everything. Okay. So your spiritual power is a collection, says so right here, or Reverend Norm would call it a library. It is a collection of Ernest Holmes' works that might not be found anywhere else, that were a little rare to begin with. We are doing Think Your Troubles Away, which turns out to be, there are 3 of them in here, where they are collections of Ernest Holmes' early Science of Mind articles. The magazine articles. Sorry. It's kind of important that I put the magazine in there. So that's what they are. And you can, and that's why they have a different tone, which is why I've been thoroughly enjoying them. So I hope you have been too. Discover a Richer Life, Think Your Troubles Away, and Living Without Fear. That's the third one. All 3 of those are collections of his Science of Mind magazine articles. It's just really cool. Fun fact. So we are in part 2 of Think Your Troubles Away, and our title today is Accept the Good You Desire. The study of science of mind does little good unless we make definite use of it. Science is the knowledge of laws and proximate causes. The technique of any science constitutes what we know about the principle of that science and our ability to definitely use it. A scientific truth can be demonstrated insofar as we understand it. If any particular theory cannot be demonstrated, it is still in the realm of a speculative or theoretical science and may or may not be true. When a theory is proved to be true, it should be accepted, and an intelligent and comprehensive way of approach to it should be given to the world. All people interested in that science should know that if they use its laws in a certain way, they will be able to demonstrate its principle. It is such an approach to religion that the world needs today, for people are instinctively religious. Most normal-minded people believe in some kind of universal or supreme intelligence. Different people have different concepts of this universal intelligence and react differently to it. We all feel that if we could only understand this God, this supreme intelligence, and come to a close enough relationship with it, our troubles would cease to be. This has been the insistent urge, the dynamic vitality of all religions. Because religion has ever been a way through which the human has sought to approach the divine. Most religions have taught that faith in God produces definite results in human experience, and it is interesting to note that in some measure they have been justified in their belief in the power of faith. Okay. This at once suggests a universal something operating in and through all religions, for all have taught the possibility of communication with God, with the Supreme Being. All have taught some form of prayer, and all have been justified in their teaching, since through prayer and communication, each has been able to demonstrate to its devotees that they are dealing with reality. To those who no longer are interested in differences, but in likenesses, who are no longer interested in negations, but in the broader affirmations of life, there at once comes this thought: prayer and communication, stimulated by faith, have tapped some universal essence, which has an actual existence and which responds alike to each and all. Without having the slightest superstition about the unique personality of Jesus as a man, I do feel that he either knew something we do not know, or he more completely believed something that we only think we believe. And honestly, I can get behind either one of those statements. We accept theoretically that what Jesus taught because it is beautiful. It soothes and calms us. His teaching has given the Christian religion the vitality that it has had. That vitality was injected by a few simple flashes from the thought of this remarkable man. Always there have been a few who have seemed to enter into his teachings, to accept it. Their lives have been attended by a spiritual and a mental magnificence which is marvelous. Going back over the teachings of Jesus, most of which have been superstitiously interpreted to a still more superstitious listening ear, what do we find? A most simple teaching: believe, and it shall be done unto you. What shall be done? The thing that we believe in, be it heaven or hell. Jesus taught an abstract and exact, equivalent and correspondent to the belief. When his disciples tried to believe, and how hard we all have tried, and were unable to do what Jesus have done, they come to him and ask, "What is wrong?" He answered, "Have more faith." He told them to bring the boy to him, and he would show them again. And they brought the one who was obsessed with him, and he said to whatever was wrong with him, "I command you to come out of him." And the boy fainted, becoming as one dead. But Jesus took him by the hand and raised him up, and he was healed. Wonderful. That was not me. It really does say wonderful with an exclamation point right there. I know my voice is a little weird today, so... The thing that Jesus had done, no other person could have done for him. He believed what he taught. And that's one of the things that I like the most about Jesse, is he believes what he teaches. He really does, his whole heart and soul are in Science of Mind. And that's what makes him such a good teacher. And that's why so many of us flock to him. I've had a very good teacher. Okay, so the thing that Jesus had done, no other person could have done for him. He believed what he taught. We do not. We should not condemn ourselves, however, for our unbelief, but should seek to develop a greater faith. If one had the faith, one could say to the mountain, "Be thou removed," and it would be done. If we could only have faith, it would be done unto us as we believe. This calls for a deeper search into the meaning of belief and faith, and when we are willing to take these two ideas, belief and faith, lay them on the operating table of the mind, dissect them, and see what they are, we shall find that they are very simple. They are psychological, mental reactions of the mind itself. Okay. It must be that Jesus had convinced himself that It must be that Jesus had convinced himself that the universe responded to him and that there was no lingering doubt. He came into such an alignment with this universal something that there was no longer any question in his mind about it responding to him in the way he wanted it to. He said to the man whose servant he had healed, "Go home, and when you get there, you will find your servant well." That thing which responded to him never seemed to fail. This power did not say to him, "Now, Jesus, this man is really sick. He really has a cancer and it has been pronounced incurable." The power responded to the great faith of this remarkable spiritual genius. It always responded to him since he never doubted it and because he lived in harmony with it. There have been many others who have tried to believe. People have tried many ways, means, and method: esoteric, occult, mystical. Most have failed. Occasionally, someone has attained while the rest have proclaimed in awe, "This person has found the secret. If they could only tell us." And when they do, they say, "Oh no, that couldn't be it. They don't want to tell us." And then they offer them a great price to be told what the secret is. They will seldom believe the answer. It is too simple. It could not be anything so simple as belief and faith built upon assurance that spirit responds to the mind of the person according to their acceptance. And so the endless chase of the secret goes around and around and around. The secret is belief and faith, expectation and acceptance, anticipation and recognition of the response of the spiritual law. Law operating through our belief in it. But how can law respond while we deny the principle governing it? Can the mind accept that which it rejects? Can it contain that which it pushes away from itself? Can any amount of intellectual endeavor do other than guarantee the maintenance of the convictions of that the mind has affirmed? Deep breath. We must return to a basis of absolute and utter simplicity. So I might suggest that Ernest would tell us that our two biggest stumbling blocks are we overcomplicate it, we overthink it and overcomplicate it, and two, doubt. The way we use science of mind is to use it. The way to think about it is to believe in it. The way to demonstrate it is to act as though it were true and to stop acting as though it were not true. We must teach our minds to accept that faith deals with the original cause, the first cause, the thing that creates and sustains everything. To believe and understand that this cause is immediately accessible, immediately flowing into our consciousness through the creative use we make of it. We must give up our unbelief in order that we may entertain our belief. The one who does this the most effectively is the one who is not afraid of the external experience which contradicts their inward affirmation. They may acknowledge the condition, but they are at the same time conscious that the power they are using is greater than the condition. Yeah, that may be. The power to do this already lies within every person's soul. It is already in you and in me in its fullness. We must train the mind to believe. One of the first things we must come to realize is that the universe is not divided against itself. The good we experience is equivalent to as much good as we can conceive. Our well-being corresponds to as much well-being as our mind can conceive. When we give our spiritual mind treatments, let us convince ourselves that they are good treatments. When we declare that there is an infinite intelligence governing our lives, let us believe what we say. Let us spend our time in our spiritual mind treatment, convincing ourselves that there is an infinite intelligence governing our lives. Are we simply fooling ourselves when we do this? We would be if there were not a result attending such practice. When a destructive thought enters and says you are just fooling yourself, you may be sure that it is just an old idea declaring that this whole thing is too good to be true. But we are dealing with a power that actually is, and it will be to us what we believe it can be. No more, no less. Doubt will gradually lessen its hold until the time when it comes until the time comes when it is as though it has never been. Nothing is too good to be true. The best we have ever conceived is but a fragment of the whole truth. We are surrounded by an infinite intelligence, potential, with all knowledge, which can, will, and wishes to intelligently govern our acts. For in so doing, it comes into a greater enjoyment of itself. The belief that a thing is too good to be true arises from the subjective atmosphere of our previous experience, which have so limited us that the fear of them maintains a hold on our unconscious imagination. Okay, wait, what? Okay, some previous subjective... at which point, here's where I point out principle is not bound by precedent, which is just another thing we say. Just because it's happened in the past doesn't mean that it can't happen. Wait, just because it's happened in the past doesn't mean it has to keep happening. And just because it hasn't happened in the past doesn't mean it won't happen. Okay. Principle is not bound by precedent. In spiritual mind treatment, we do not argue with an old order of limitation, but seek through a greater realization to create and sustain in our minds a broader concept and a deeper experience. Okay. My highlighter is dying. I'm going to have to get a new highlighter soon. It is this belief and acceptance on our part that sets the creative law in motion. Belief must pass through faith into acceptance by acknowledgement. As the seed is not complete within itself until it comes into conjunction with the creative soil, so our word must be buried in the infinite intelligence, nurtured by belief and faith, watered by acknowledgement, tended with receptivity, and the outcome accepted with enthusiastic expectancy. Okay, that. Ernest must have been some kind of gardener, because he uses gardening metaphors so effectively. This is the meaning of entering into the closet and praying in secret, making known our request with thanksgiving. Then the principle which hears in secret rewards us openly. This reward is the demonstration. Do not argue with anyone over this. I like that. Do not argue with anyone over this. Daily go into the silent. Oh, wait, hang on. I skipped a line. Okay. This reward is the demonstration. Do not argue with anyone over this. The way to use it is to use it, and there is no other way. Daily go into the silence of your own mind, saying, infinite intelligence is at the center of my being. I am daily directed into the paths of peace, joy, and prosperity. Everything that I do is quickened into right action. The Spirit of truth goes before me, preparing the way, instantly making perfect and complete the demonstration of its presence in my affairs. Whew, okay, that was a lot. And tomorrow we will start part 3 with thoughts become things. But I've heard it said, and by multiple people who would know, that if Ernest could be said to have a regret, his biggest regret is that I guess there are 2. One, he talked more about law than love. He wishes he had emphasized love a little bit more. And the other thing is we talk a lot about theory, but we don't go out and try it out. Like, if you don't road test the theory, then that's all it is. It's just a theory. And so I think that's one of the reasons why we are called practitioners, because we should practice this daily. Even ministers, we're still called practitioners. We are practitioners first and ministers second, because we practice daily, every day, in some way, some form, some fashion. And honestly, since I started doing this daily, because I've been doing it since March of 2020, I think it really has up-leveled me in a way that I wasn't expecting. So I thoroughly encourage you to pick something that you do every single day and do it every single day. It doesn't have to be as intense as, reading Ernest Holmes live on Facebook, but it's a good start. It's definitely benefited me. All right, beloveds, I'm going to move on into the process of my day. So I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a take care of business day, a take care of yourself day, a you got this day, a cuddle your fur babies day, a drink plenty of water day, a think soothing throat thoughts day. That's for me personally. But if you need it, take it. Tell somebody you love them day. A do what you got to do day. A you'll know it when you see it day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, because occasionally it is, simply have a day. You are enough. Just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. Your spirit in motion, God in action, a brilliant light, a divine spark, a beautiful masterpiece, and a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godly. So explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be. Because the divine knows you to be good. It's all the divine knows. And from there, anything is possible. Anything at all. All right, beloveds. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9-ish tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. I will see you next time.